recognize and give honor to our first responders and to the essential workers that are out there. We thank you. We honor you for all the work that you're doing in these most difficult times. We also want to make sure that we stay safe. As we said, that when you're out there, very important for you to wear your masks. You must wear your mask out there. Also, it's very important that we understand that we have the regulations where New York State is on pause until May 15th, and we're going to revisit what different changes in policy we're going to do. If you go to a supermarket, if you go to a drugstore, if you go to a place that is not practicing social distancing in New York City, please contact 311. Let us know. It's very important for us to stay safe. Okay, now let's get to why we're here. We're very excited to talk to college students and what they're going through during this pandemic. And we have a great lineup of college students here today that are going to speak about what their experiences are going through coronavirus. I thought it was very interesting to have this conversation because, we talk about what's going on with graduation. We talk about what's going on with their life, their life decisions, and what kind of time to be in your life where coronavirus comes and changes the world. And if you're in college or if you're graduating and you're in your early 20s and you're trying to figure out where you're going to be in life, for this to happen, this is something that's rocking our world. So I wanted to talk to these college students to find out how they're dealing with it and how they're persevering. Today, this town hall is being run by, organized, and moderated by one of my great people from my staff, Rachel Antoine, who put this together, who's going to be running it, who's going to be operating it. She is a graduate from CUNY, York College, where she served as the student body president. She's also a graduate at a little school called, I think, Columbia University, somewhere in Upper Manhattan, where she got a master's degree. And she continues to awe the community with her smarts and her talent, and she's going to be moderating this. So Rachel, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Assemblyman Clivenel. It's actually an honor for me to serve as a moderator for this panel. But before, I would like to take the time to thank my member for your leadership. Thank you for continuing to empowering us young folks and leading and advocacy as well. And not to forget Team Vanel, Kohari, Kayla, Aaron, for your continuous work for the past couple of weeks. Today we have some interesting conversation and we have some esteemed panelists and some great scholars, I would say, as well. But before we dive into this conversation, I want everyone to know that we are all facing an issue right now because of this pandemic. And it is important that we raise our voices. It is important that we have a platform. And this is why the Office of Assemblyman Clivenel decided to provide this platform for you all. So without further ado, this isn't about me tonight. It's about you graduates, about you students. I would like to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to raise your voice. And I want to say thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule. And I know that many of you guys are taking online classes. Just please introduce yourself for like 30 seconds to 60 seconds. And we'll start with Emily.
All right, well, hey everyone. My name's Emily Apodaca. I'm graduating from Columbia University School of Social Work. So I will be getting my master's degree in social work. I have my own organization here in Los Angeles called Safe Haven. And then we really help at-risk youth, help reach success, whatever success looks like for them, and giving them tools and skills for them. And then we also raise money for the homeless population in Skid Row. So right now we're working on giving them health packages to help decrease the spread of germs. And then I also mentor foster youth. So that's currently what I've been doing.
Kevin, take it away.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Kevin Carbello, and pretty much I'm a graduate student at NYU, Silver School of Social Work, and I'm also majoring in social work. Pretty much, I'm also a host of the Facts Podcast, which stands for Finding Authenticity that captures transformative stories. And right now, I'm just trying to find my way, navigating through the whole COVID-19, and just being a student who's trying to like get into that professional field of work.
Amazing. Rudy, take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rudy Mashad, and I currently go to Hunter College. This is my last semester, of course, and I major in anthropology. Eventually in the future, I want to get my master's of public health. I currently intern at the Department of Homeless Services, where I do data entry. And I am in the Public Service Scholar program at Hunter College, where it's different. It's a program where a lot of scholars can go and intern in many different places in the government, city agencies, and we just want to help our community by doing public service.
Pavitri.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pavitri Danpal. I am, of course, a senior at York College. My major is business administration, a concentration in human resource management. I am the current student government president for our York College there. I am also a mentor, and in my free time, I help students who are GD and ESL. I help them with their resume writing, mock interviews, and yeah.
And last but not least, our chairperson of CUNY USS for all 25 CUNY schools.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I mean, it's always an honor getting a chance to just be on a panel and speak with not only a current student government president of York, but also a former student government president of York. My name is Timothy Hunter. As Rachel kind of alluded to, the USS chairperson for this year. I'm also the student government president at City Tech, my home school, New York City College of Technology. I'm an education major. This is my last year, so senior year as well. I'm just finishing up undergrad and just trying to do what we can to represent all the students in CUNY in the best light.
Thank you. So you guys have all heard from our student leaders, and I think it's time that we dive into our conversation. But before we continue, I would like to acknowledge that if we have any students who's actually watching this panel, I want to say that we are with you in this. The students are there for you. If you have any questions, please ask. This is an experience that we're all sharing, and members of the community are sharing different experiences, but particularly tonight, it's really about the students' experiences. So I know that the very first case of COVID-19 was March 1st. And some of you guys maybe were in the middle of midterm, if not preparing for spring break. So Rudy, would you like to tell me what exactly were you doing around that time? And did you know how serious this would be?
So around that time, I was probably heading to my internship. It was really crazy where, I was just reading the news and looking at New York Times, like scrolling through the articles and stuff and seeing how crazy this epidemic was, happening around the earth. And I couldn't believe that it was coming to the United States. And I was really, really scared and under pressure. And I kept, having a positive attitude, saying, okay, everything's going to be all right. They're going to figure it out. Everything's going to be okay. And I just did not want it to affect the United States. I did not want it to affect globally, but it was just happening rapidly. And I couldn't really wrap my mind around it. I wasn't sure. I didn't know the facts. There were like news, fake news. There were, true news. It was just so much that was happening. I couldn't really understand what was going on, but I kept, being hopeful and saying everything would be okay and wishing that everything would be okay. Till this day, I'm still hopeful that everything will be okay.
Really good. Timothy, as a chairperson, this happened. I'm sure that you were doing a whole lot of things, dealing with your schoolwork. How did you handle that situation, and did you take it very seriously?
I mean, yeah, the first, it was definitely a very scary situation for all of our students. And I think the first step that we wanted to take was we wanted to make sure that our students were safe. A lot of other schools were on spring break. Our spring break didn't happen until like a little bit later for Easter Sunday. So our students were still in school. And we had a march that was coming up in March 15th to kind of like highlight the lack of funding in CUNY schools. And, you know, we made the tough decision to kind of pivot from organizing a march where thousands of students were going to gather and like walk across Brooklyn Bridge to kind of like canceling our march and like urging the governor to close CUNY and SUNY schools. And due to the advocacy of many of the student leaders, such as like, you know, Pavitri and a lot of other student government presidents across all of our campuses, we were able to kind of like, you know, like encourage and push the, you know, the governor and like, you know, the chancellor on social media to kind of like make that decision to kind of transition to distance learning in like, you know, conjunction with all of our other peers and on different campuses. And then the next steps that were just kind of just figuring out how to put out fires after. Students were relocating from dorms, trying to figure out how to keep our food pantries open. The governor's budget is now, you know, may have a lot of rolling cuts that may impact CUNY directly. And now we're just trying to figure out how we can stop this tuition hike that's coming this fall. This June, and trying to make sure that we continue to keep higher education funded, especially public universities that have helped so many people like yourself and a lot of our other peers to kind of be successful in today's society.
Well, yeah, it seems like you were ready for this. Kevin, what were you doing? What was happening around that time?
Yeah, I think around that time, I definitely had classes. I didn't know it was gonna be my last week there though, and I was also at my internship. So I was interning at a school-based program in Brooklyn called Counseling in Schools, and pretty much what we do there is just provide play therapy, dog therapy to you know, preschoolers, and you know, to me it was like at first I didn't know it was like a real thing. I was one of those people that was like, you know, I'm not gonna take it that seriously. And so I didn't know that week of, I think it was like the second week of March, where like, you know, they said that schools was closing. I didn't know that was gonna be the last week where I was gonna meet my kids, you know, actually do a session with them. So it was kind of tough for me because now after everything was closed down, I had to find time to actually get used to doing like telehealth or, you know, providing counseling through video chat. And, you know, it's difficult. You know, it's not the same thing. There's no you can't beat the human touch. You can't beat the human interaction, you know. So that was really tough for me, that transition, definitely.
Emily?
So I was back home in LA, and it hadn't hit hard in LA yet. My best friend had lived in China, and she had just come home because of COVID. And so we were kind of skeptical, but we didn't know how serious it was. But, you know, still part of Columbia's community, also receiving emails. And so once the dean, you know, sent the emails saying that they were going to suspend field for a while, that's when I figured that this was kind of getting more serious. And just kind of thinking of everyone back in New York. I know New York is different than LA and how close everything is. So I was definitely worried about, you know, all you guys back home. But definitely here it was starting to get, you know, chaotic with hoarding, people hoarding like the markets and not really trusting what government officials were saying. So that was kind of scary of, you know, trusting the government and then listening to them, but seeing other people having fear. So it's definitely kind of nerve-wracking.
Wow. So we know that in our next conversation, I really want to dive into missing graduation. And we know that this pandemic has threatened different celebrations such as graduation, prom nights for our high school students, end of year relationship, rush goodbyes that you guys probably didn't have the time to say goodbye to your friends. So before we dive into that, I want to make sure that I play a video for you guys. And a person actually saw the post about missing graduation, and she wanted to make sure that she shared that video with you all.
Late nights of endless homework. 4 years coming, I was finally almost done. But next thing I know, my school is closed. Didn't get to say goodbye to all I've known. Looks like I'll be in my cap and gown at home. Oh, they closed the curtain before I walked across the stage. No one could have seen this coming. Didn't even know when I had my last day. Guess I put the work in, and no one can take that away. But oh, this is not what I thought it'd be like to graduate.
Thank you, Erin. How are you guys feeling?
She basically said everything I've been feeling. Graduation, once I finally heard it was canceled, that was very, for me, heartbroken for me. Being a first generation college student and now graduate student, that was a very memorial, monumental thing I was looking forward to. So that was very hard for me, and just kind of accepting grief, because that is a loss. And so kind of, social work, validating my feelings, and challenging negative thoughts, and kind of being optimistic about it. And so that was it was very hard for me, still kind of hard for me to accept that we're probably not going to have a graduation.
Emily, you mentioned validating your grief, and if you don't mind, I'm going to share your story just a bit. Emily actually came to New York last year to attend Columbia School of Social Work. And for some reason, she had to leave and go back home. For you to miss graduation a second time, would you be able to talk about that again?
Yeah, I had to, come home a month before graduation last year. And so that was, very hard for me to deal with. And then I came back and became an online student to finish, my last semester. And so I had finally, accepted, like, I'm going to go back and be full circle and like say goodbye, to Rachel and, other people that I haven't seen. And then to hear the news, that was very, devastating, at least for me. So, just kind of taking the time to, like I said, validate my feelings and, talk to people that I can talk to and kind of share how I've been feeling about it. But really just kind of learning to accept what it is, but doesn't mean like I can't go back to New York. It's just that graduation is, not here. But thankfully, Columbia School of Social Work, I think we're doing the people of color graduation virtually. So that's something that I'm very excited about to at least be a part of.
Any one of you guys could just take it away from there.
Yeah, just to piggyback on Emily, I'm also a first generation college student. So for me, like going on stage, it's like a sense of pride, like I have two younger siblings. So like I knew like last year I graduated from undergrad from your college. So I knew what I was missing. Like I had my mom's there, I had my girlfriend there, my family, everyone. So I already knew that like my friends and family wouldn't have been able to walk me off. I wouldn't have that time to kind of like, show them like I did all this work. And then, this is all, these are the results. So like, to me, I knew I was missing out. So I feel like it made it a little bit worse. And also like this, like, it's a time for you to show everyone that you at your peak, you at your best, you're getting a graduate degree. Not everyone get that master's, not everybody go to school to get their master's. So for me, it was definitely like a blow, so I feel like, it's tough, but I think also like what NYU been trying to do, I think they're gonna like do like a virtual graduation as well. I'm not sure when, but I think that's helpful. And I think when things do die down, we should definitely like celebrate after, Like I know I'm gonna definitely celebrate. Like I have to, But yeah, it sucks, but I think, the way things are now, we can't do it. But I would say this, we could be hopeful, June is not too far off, so maybe we have graduation in June. I don't know.
I didn't want to believe it until I received an email, I believe the last week of March from Hunter saying that, hey guys, we're not having a graduation. And the president of Hunter saying that, she's very proud of us, etc. And that's when it kind of hit me. And I was like, wow, what am I going to tell my parents as being, the first in my family to graduate with my bachelor's? I was like, what can I tell my parents? Like, what are they going to say? Because I know it was going to hurt them as well. And I was still hopeful, regardless of, them telling me that we're not having a graduation. I was like, okay, so maybe things will change. And then in June or July, maybe, I'll still come to the graduation. I'm still looking forward for the celebration because I can relate to the video, endless nights of, doing homework, writing essays, and I just want to be celebrated. So, and then it wasn't until maybe 2 weeks ago where Hunter again emailed me and told me that, hey guys, you're so proud of you, class 2020, but we're going to be sending your cap and tassel in the mail. Congratulations. And I was like, wow, that's for real. And I didn't even know what to tell my parents. I can't even tell my parents yet, hey, I'm not going to graduation. They're pretty hopeful as well. So I don't know how I'm going to break it to them.
For me, I'm the first to graduate in my family with a bachelor's degree, of course. And it's really heartbreaking to know that, I won't be able to attend graduation. I mean, yeah, I understand that it's postponed, but my entire family, like for me, it was not just me graduating, it was them as well. So it's really heartbreaking. I've worked so hard for 4 years, sleepless nights, tears flowing, and all those papers, staying up late, doing them, and then hearing graduation is postponed. It's like, oh my God. So yeah.
So, Rachel, is it okay if I could? Oh, go ahead. Oh, go ahead. I forgot Tim. Go ahead, Tim. Waiting for you to go. Go ahead, Tim.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, that this was definitely would have been really big. I mean, like, and I can imagine, like, for a lot of people on the call, it's been really stressful. I mean, like, graduation is where, a lot of our first generation and second generation college students come together and just celebrate, each other and all those accomplishments. And, it's definitely really sad. And, I think that, it's disappointing, and we know that, of course, it's because of, like, public health concerns and making sure we maintain social distance, because it's hard to do that when thousands of people gather in a stadium or in any place. And I just really just hope that everyone takes the time and like reflects on this, and hopefully, like, in the future we can try to do something else, because this is something, in my opinion, like, you tell your future generations about, like, this was the class that didn't have a chance to have a graduation. And it's not just it's like, it's not just college but also high school. It's like waking up, like the song set us up, like you just wake up one day and you never knew that that day was going to be your last day, to even say bye to people and to tell the people that, like, you were friends with for 4 years, thank you for everything. And it's definitely, it hasn't even sunk in. I'm not sure about anybody else on the call, but it hasn't sunk in for me yet. It's probably not going to sink in until, like, I get my cap and gown in the mail and I'm like, whoa, like, we're not going to have a graduation this year. But it's been a rough year for sure. I'm not sure. I think we should just throw the whole 2020 away. It's been really stressful. And this has just been like, it's kind of topped it off. But yeah.
Well, first, I have to say that, speaking to everyone here, you guys are in a blessed position, right? You guys are in the United States of America. You're in the best state in the world. You guys are in New York, and you guys are in our most dynamic institutions in our colleges and universities in New York State. So, and then you guys actually are graduating. Big deal. That's a big deal. So that's a really big deal, right? So, but right now, and I was talking about this before, you guys are in your lives, you guys are in transition. This is a big transition period in your life. And during this big transition period in your life, right? now the world, New York is in transition. The world is in transition. How are you guys coping with your careers during this? Have your ideas changed what you want to do next? What is next? That's what I want to hear. What's next? Take it away, anybody.
So for me, what's next for me is just trying to find like a job, definitely. Um, but right now I'm open, you know. It didn't change the fact that I want to become a social worker. I did wanted to take my license exam, you know, right after, but I think everything is kind of like postponed or pushed back, so I have to wait to get that, you know, to take my license exam in the future. So right now, I won't say that I'm stuck, but I'm still like I'm open, so I'm searching, like I'm applying to a lot of jobs. I'm interested in criminal justice, so like I would like to find, you know, a position somewhere where I could like actually help people who are incarcerated. I actually interned for health and hospitals correctional services. So like I've been there for like 2 years on Rikers Island, doing like outreach things, and I like that type of environment. I like to be in those environments where like the work is needed, like the work is a lot of work to be done there. So I think right now I'm trying to remain sane by creating a routine, making sure that I finish off my this semester strong. Work on my podcast on the side, and then just find something that once May 19, I think May 19th is when I graduate. Hopefully I can find something before then or after then to kind of keep myself busy. And I think that's right now just like it's being open, you know.
Well, tell me about that podcast.
Yeah, so my podcast is called Facts. So it stands for Finding Authenticity that captures transformative stories. And pretty much what I do, I interview people from various walks of life to share their story, you know, like how they struggle, how they went from point A to point B, and hopefully, their story, their blueprint of how they became successful. So successful can help somebody. So like pretty much if you're tuning in, you're like, okay, he went through this struggle. He got to point A to point B, and if he could do that, then I could do that too. So and the show really focus on black and brown individuals, because I feel like a lot of our stories aren't really told, and so I feel like my platform gives those individuals to share their story that wouldn't have gone unnoticed or untold, and that's pretty much a way to to keep our community strong. Me personally, I learned from stories. A lot of situations or opportunity I got was from taking advice from somebody, or again that one tip, or so I figured that that was something that's like my way of giving back to my community. And I think that's like the social work in me. Like I love talking, I love building relationships. Yeah.
Just to piggyback off of Kevin, yeah, getting a JOB would be very nice. I kind of right now I'm thinking about going into county just because I really want to help, where I've come from. So that's kind of my thing. Eventually I would hope to have my organization turn into a nonprofit, own a building, have an actual facility to help at-risk youth and kids. And, pertainly for me, I really want to help people of color, possibly urban school districts and everything like that. So that's kind of where I'm going. I think the benefit of COVID was really helping me expand on, telehealth as a social worker and, doing things virtually and just kind of getting smarter with how to make money and how to survive off of it and have, multiple incomes, just different things like that. So it's taught me a lot, but I also am prepared for what I need to do, out after graduate school.
For me,
Go ahead.
My routine has not really changed that much. I've continued doing everything that I was doing before, except that I do miss the physical interactions. But I'm trying to finish up school in a strong way, getting all those A's, of course. I just finished applying. Actually, I got accepted into a master's program at Lehman College. In the fall, I will be doing my master's in organizational leadership. So I'm excited, looking forward to that, and just preparing myself.
So for me, I'm so used to a routine where every day, you know, I would go from this to this to this. So with this whole quarantine, it has the hardest thing for me is, you know, trying to find a routine every single day. But it definitely has not changed my career path that I want to get into. I want to get my master's in public health, healthcare management. Basically seeing how, you know, the healthcare system, how crazy it is during these times, and you know, pushes me more to want to do more, to want to be a part of that, you know, to find new strategies on how to, like, you know, if I was a part of the you know, the health and hospitals right now, it would have been like I would have been, you know, finding out different strategies, you know, to help these patients. So it definitely has not changed my career path that I want to get into. It actually pushes me to go for it more. I'm really looking forward to that. Right now, I'm not applying. I didn't apply to grad school yet. I'm going to apply so I could go in the fall. But I'm definitely looking for a full-time position. Trying to, you know, reach out my public service kind of roles that I have, the skills that I have built over the years in my internships and everything, trying to like implement that into like my job search.
Yeah, so I think that in terms of next steps, you know, it's definitely important to be thinking about this. You know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to serve in this role as chairperson of USS until October, so I do have some time. But I did already start looking at other opportunity programs. Didn't want to go straight to grad school yet, so I'm going to be taking like a year off to do like a fellowship, a public affair fellows in New York. The Choral Fellowship, and kind of like see like how, like, I guess across the sector, how New York City as a whole is going to be impacted by the coronavirus. I guess you get the chance to see how it's going to affect private work, you know, public work, and the government, and nonprofit at the city, state, and all those different levels as well. So I think that's going to be really interesting, and also just trying to figure out how to, like, you know, find out like how to like get more in tune with my community. A lot of us do a lot of student leadership and get involved in student government, and then sometimes it gets lost up there, and we don't like kind of take the same knowledge that we gained there and bring it back to our communities, to our community boards, or to county committee, and things like that. You know, and I think that that's definitely like some logical next steps, and I'm really looking forward to figuring out how we can kind of like use this knowledge and like kind of bring it to, like, you know, our local community so that they could be more civically engaged as well.
So I believe that this coronavirus pandemic is a major challenge, but with major challenges, oftentimes, all the time, leads itself to opportunities. And many people are going to come off, and many college students are going to come off worse off after coronavirus, but that's not everyone. Some people are going to thrive, and some folks are going to actually turn the challenges into opportunities. You guys are in a great position because you guys nowadays, in order for us to connect, we have to connect through technology, as we're doing now. We're connecting through Zoom and through Facebook. So we're using different tools to be able to connect, and not everyone is comfortable with technology, and there's still this digital divide. We talk about not waiting for things to happen, but creating your own opportunities. Are you guys thinking about how to create your own opportunities that may not even exist? Are you guys considering that? And if so, how? How are you guys thinking through this? Because I believe a lot has changed since I graduated from college, which was a long time ago, right? So, and grad school. At that time, you know, we could, you know, everybody, you know, you go to school, you get a degree, you get a job. Things are not necessarily may not necessarily be that way now. Have you guys considered any entrepreneurial endeavors? Have you guys considered creating your own opportunities? I know that I forgot your name in LA, who has your own nonprofit already. My man over here has his podcast. So can you talk about, how you're trying to, if you're trying to build something else on the side, if you're trying to build something, how you're trying to create your own opportunities, and how that, how that mindset. And I find also that students have to be more entrepreneurial and for their own opportunities and for their careers. Like you should be the CEO of your career. And how do you look at, that long term? So can you guys talk about that mindset and that kind of thing?
I think for me, I started my organization when I was a sophomore in undergrad. I really had no idea what I was doing. I kind of just went with it, and kind of one event of, raising money to feed the homeless turned into another event. And then, I took a class on like an internship, and I was a school tutor at a public high school to realize that these kids need like extra tutoring. So I told them, like, if I come on my own time, will y'all, be there? They agreed. All of them showed up. So that kind of got the idea of having, an organization of my own to build and to expand. So it kind of just organically happened for me. I've always kind of wanted to do something like this, but never really considered it until, I came to college. As far as being an entrepreneur, I would say, yeah, that's still in the works of me, being a nonprofit. There's some things I need to do what I want, which would be like getting a license, become a clinical licensed social worker. So that's what I plan on doing simultaneously as far as growing and expanding my nonprofit. But I was also very surprised at how much help and how much support I got from, older people wanting to, donate, people wanting to get involved. So it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. So if I had to give any advice, I'd just kind of go with it and see what happens, keep an open mindset, and just, accept feedback. But it also became kind of an obsession to just kind of see how far I could go with this.
Rudy.
I haven't had the chance to really think of that in the next level, but because of what I want to eventually become, entering the health, becoming a healthcare manager, managing hospitals and stuff, I do see that in my near future. But as of right now, I have not implemented it in my present state right now. But I am going to look into Emily's advice. That's a great idea. I should, try to put myself more out there so I can build my brand.
Yeah, so for me, I didn't really have the chance to really think about like if I want to like, like like having like an entrepreneurial mindset. When I first started my podcast, it was really for me to like, come out my comfort zone and do something that I feel like will give back to my community. But I think once I have, like my own studio, more of equipment where like the audio, it sounds better. And like, once I get into like my zone, once I have more time to work on my podcast, I think that will come up naturally. So, people always say like, use your passion and, make your passion, make you money. So I feel like, as social workers, we don't really get paid as much, but I feel like there's certain skills that we pick up, in our coursework that could make us really valuable. Where if we use it a certain way, we could definitely make money. So I think for me, I'm trying to, I'm learning that as I'm going right now, and I'm trying to do that. But I'm taking this class, this mass incarceration class with Professor J, and he's having us think outside the box. Like we have to figure out like what can we do like in order to change like the whole incarceration system, capitalism, right? And one thing that me and Prince are definitely working on is creating a program. I don't know how far it's gonna go, but right now it's just a thought. So I feel like my advice to college is just like write write your goals down, write your thoughts down, and from there everything's gonna come out. Like take it step by step. And for me, that it's been working for me. So.
So I think Rachel's about to come back on, but before she gets on, one of the things, and then we're gonna talk about tips that you guys are gonna have perspective to give college students that are coming up. But are you guys working on your brand and branding yourselves and your careers? Let's talk about that. Are you guys working on that? What you're doing in social media, what you're doing digitally, what you're doing for the moving forward, right? Because there was a certain thing. I guess there was a certain way that you projected yourself in the world as a high school student. There's a certain way that you project yourself as a college student. Now you guys are graduate students, and you guys are going to be beyond that. How are you thinking about projecting your brand moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think the difference between like high school and college. High school, it's all fun and games. But when you go to college, things pick up, right? You have to worry about what classes, what major, what I'm a major in, what's going to happen after college. So I think like people tend to forget college is really a business. Like school is a business. So what you want to do is network as much as you can. Build yourself up. Make people remember your name. What else? I don't know. I feel like one thing that helped me to kind of like work on myself or like to build my brand or build me was LinkedIn. Definitely is a good platform to like start off, right? Like I learned about LinkedIn when I went on this conference to California, and like I remember like a lot of students, like almost every student there had a LinkedIn page, and I was like the only one that didn't. So like when I got back to New York, I'm like, oh, I didn't get a LinkedIn, and it takes time. Like everything you're gonna do, it takes time. So don't really rush it. So like it took me probably like a year in order for me to establish a good LinkedIn account. And from there, it's not just about getting jobs, but also it's about showing those things that you can't put on a resume, like doing a podcast. Like, I mean, I wouldn't put that on my resume, but that's something that I could post on LinkedIn, and even use Twitter. Like Twitter is a good place to market yourself too. So like I would say use these platforms to build yourself up. Words have meaning, and I feel like if you give your name meaning, it's going to carry out. So just think about that.
All right. Thank you guys. So there is this saying that actually says, if you hang around a barbershop long enough, soon you'll get a haircut. I think for the past 7 months, I've been hanging around with our member, Clyde, for the longest. So I hear a lot about entrepreneur and entrepreneur and entrepreneur and entrepreneur. So I forget about social work. So this is my advice to you guys. So this is my advice to you guys. If you have the chance, just adapt that mindset. You will find yourself really free to the point that you could just tap into anything. I'm not saying for you to tap into like different things at the same time, but it kind of like broadens your perspective. So Rudy, I know you personally. I've seen you in the community, and you're pretty active in the community with youth. You forgot to mention that you're a very good makeup artist. And that kind of like raised a question for me. Are we really focused into that education without really tapping into our inner skills or inner ideas or inner thoughts? Are we really deeply taking that into account? So I do encourage you all, because I've been around in that barbershop for the past 7 months now, and I think I've gotten a haircut from our member. So with that being said, we have some question online. I'm not sure if we're gonna have the time to tap into it, but I think I could try to merge these questions together. Is how have you guys been adopting, just 30 seconds, you could just mention just a word. How do you feel about online classes and physical education?
You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. For me, it was definitely difficult. I am old fashioned. I like books. I don't like, the screen. It's not for me. I think for me, I have to remind myself like self-compassion. You're learning at this, you're new. And, finding someone has a friend who's tech savvy. So asking them, YouTube, just kind of learning stuff, Google, but definitely just kind of being patient with yourself and knowing that you're doing the best you can with just adjusting to the different platform.
Timothy.
Nothing can replace the real deal, like there's nothing like being in a classroom and being able to bounce ideas off of your peers. And I think that it's definitely been hard. And I just really, my heart goes out to like a lot of the students that are like, especially in CUNY, that are maybe living in like shelters that may not have access to certain technology. And I think that that's been like, our biggest worry so far, just trying to figure out how to make sure all students have the like access to participate in a distance learning environment. And we just want to make sure that we create those equal opportunities. I think the coronavirus is just highlighting a lot of the problems in our society, a lot of the downfalls of it. And I think it's our job, as students and as the future of the society, kind of like figure out how to fix a lot of these things. And just a really eye-opening experience for sure.
I want to agree and say that it has been really kind of difficult for me, going to taking online classes. I had taken online classes in the past, but taking all 5 classes online is really difficult. And you have a lot of distractions. You have, not everything's the same. You're not sitting down, like there's not a professor in front of you. It's very complicated. But I agree with Tim saying that, not everyone has these resources. I definitely can say that I don't think that America was ready for this type of pandemic. And it just, just to show that we need to be prepared at all times for any kinds of crisis. A lot of the professors weren't ready. Definitely CUNY wasn't. I don't think CUNY was ready. Everyone was trying to, everyone has been trying to do their best. But it has been difficult. Not only for CUNY students, not only for college students, but it has been difficult for all students. A lot of students do not have the opportunity to, have Wi-Fi, opportunity to the internet, and it's difficult. And it's just like a year wasted, academic year that's been wasted because of all of this circumstance.
Honestly, I can agree that being in person, having in-person interactions is way better than these online classes. For me, my classes were actually hybrid this semester, so I was adjusting or fine with the fully online stuff. But I think I do feel bad at the fact that, there are students out there that do not have the necessary resources that they need to, complete school or finish off in a strong way. And for sure, nobody was actually prepared for this pandemic to happen. So it just goes to show that we need to be prepared at all times for anything that's coming our way. And, just being there, trying our best, keeping our heads high, and just working as is.
And this question, and the next questions that I have for you, is 2 main questions joined together. Did you guys get a chance to take at least your senior photos, or even get a chance to purchase your cap and gown?
That's a no for me. I did not get a chance to purchase my cap and gown. I did not get a chance to take my senior photos. I was looking forward to all of that, all the good stuff that comes with graduating from college, and senior prom and graduation ceremonies and all of that. That's a no.
I have to agree. I have not had a chance to take senior or graduate photos. Luckily, I got a cap and gown from my old supervisor who was a Columbia grad. And she kind of made like a pact that we would give it, each gown that we got, we would give it to another first generation college student because she was that. And she gave it to me, and then I will find a first generation college grad student. So that was like a special moment. But as far as photos, I would have to wait until we could go outside.
Yeah, I think for me too, I just got the cap, you know. So I didn't even get the chance to take photos, but I think what I might have to do once my cat come in the mail, take a selfie, and yeah.
I definitely did not have the chance to take my senior pictures, and I think that bothers me a lot. And also, I'm Caribbean, so like it was a big thing where your parents would take your picture, like they would have that picture, they would pay hundreds, no matter what the price is, and they would send it all over the globe, so your whole family could see it and everything. It's that thing, so it's very important, and I'm bummed out about it. I'm very upset that I'm not gonna be able to have those pictures. My mom is pretty upset about it. She complains every day to me and saying, "Oh my God, I don't have those pictures to send back home to Haiti." And it's just like, I'm sorry, mom. And yeah, it sucks. It does.
All right, so time is really running by, guys, and we had many people who asked you guys so many different questions. Thank you, Diane, for joining. Thank you, Carmine from Senator Comey's office for joining in. And if we did not get the chance to answer your question, I believe there are esteemed scholars will join back on New York State Assemblyman Clive Bunnell's page and respond to you. And guys, I think you guys had some amazing answers, and I truly encourage that you guys go back and join. So the very last question before I call my member to close this session for us is, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
For me, I'll go. I think for me, take a chance. I'm very introverted, so even doing this is very far from my comfort zone. But I think if I could tell myself, take a chance on people, take a chance on different memories, different opportunities, and just kind of be more positive. And yeah, I think that's just go for it. And if you fail, try again.
Kevin.
For me, I would say be a little bit more patient, and get involved a little bit earlier. I feel like I got involved in student government. I think I was like a junior, and I wish I'd have done it a little bit sooner. Because I learned a lot, through your college SGA about leadership, about simple stuff. And I feel like if I had that from like my freshman year, it would have made it. I probably been like a better person. Um, but yeah, I'll say be patient and get involved as soon as you can.
Timothy.
I think the biggest thing is making sure that you you help others along the way. I think that's the most important thing. So my 18-year-old self would always say that I guess I would just tell myself that by yourself you go fast, but together you go far, and it's important to always try to bring and uplift those that are around you, because it's all communal and we all need each other to succeed.
Pavitri, take it away.
I would tell my 18-year-old self to take a chance. Do the things that you fear doing. And one of the things that I do fear the most is public speaking. Like, honestly, I fear that more than I fear death. And I think there's this one person that always tells me, whatever you fear the most, I mean, that's what's going to make you most successful. And I think I would tell myself, you know what, just go for it. Do whatever it takes just go for it.
I would definitely tell myself to network, to do anything that you thought that you couldn't do, try it anyway, apply to anything that you thought that you're not, you wouldn't be good for, apply to it no matter what. And also, a good friend of mine, Rachel, always told me that, if you want to be a doctor, hang around doctors. If you want to be an engineer, hang around engineers. Stop hanging around people who are not, adding to what you want to do.
And that is why I'm hanging around Assemblyman Clive Bunnell. Take it away.
First of all, I'm really excited. First, I'm sitting here taking notes. You guys are dropping knowledge and dropping nuggets and jewels to folks. We really appreciate all that you guys are saying. You guys are our future, and I'm excited that you guys, I'm excited to have this conversation. Just a couple of things and takeaways is one of the things that's important is that folks that are gifted academically, people that are in school, that are in an institution. You guys are great because you guys are in this institution, you're in this framework, but soon you're going to be out of that framework, right? Soon you're going to have to figure it out for yourself and fend for yourself. And not everybody survives. And this world is a cold world. And now after coronavirus, it's even more, there's stuff that's even more in flux. So very important for you to be proactive and to be able to create your own opportunity. That's why I asked that question. For you guys to, no matter what you guys are doing, always think about creating your own opportunities. Another thing to understand is mindset. You guys already are CEOs. CEO means that you are a decision maker. You have to make big decisions. And you are the CEO of your career. That's your business. Your business is your career. So be very mindful of what your choices are and what you're going to go into, whether you go to grad school, whether you're going to get a job, whether you create something, whether you build something. But no matter what, always try to build something, work on building something now. Even if you have a job, always work on something that you have that you could build and grow, and try to have multiple streams of income. One big tip that I believe that Kevin mentioned is your social media is very important. Your brand is very important. LinkedIn is very important. Now you can post articles, videos, or what have you on LinkedIn. So your professional self, that has to be your best professional self on LinkedIn, so that you put your best foot forward out there, but also be mindful of your Instagram, of your Facebook, of your YouTube, because many employers or many potential people that are going to contract with you will look at your social media. So you want your social media to also be professional. And if you got to get a little ratchet, do a separate side, private account where if you want to do that. But your name or whatever is something that you be mindful of that, and you guard that with your life. And also another little small advice that people should have told college students is your email should be professional, right? I'm sure you guys know that, but your email should be professional. What does that mean? Your name at whatever it is. If you can't find your name and a couple of numbers at whatever it is. A nickname at blah, blah, blah is not a professional email. So, very important. Again, thank you for watching. We're very excited that for the folks that are watching. Diane, thank you for your support. Carmetta, thank you for watching. Everyone else, thank you for watching. And college students, you guys are bright. You guys are going to take over the world. Look forward to following up with you guys in a little bit. Stay safe.